Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question, our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man Jerome with me.
What's up, Daryl?
Man, another day in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a show that we want to talk about to kind of bring back in the thing that we had with Judge Henderson and Cedric Harris from Memphis Area Legal. Man, I think that that's something we want to put people back on notice on. So.
I think you're absolutely right, Daryl.
So we got to give our shout outs. Shout outs to California. Shout out to Little Rock, Arkansas. Shout out to West Memphis, Arkansas. Shout out to Shelby County, Memphis. Shout out to Mississippi, mom, wife, kids, family. Jerome's wife, kids, family.
Hey,
shout
y'all.
out to Missouri and the great state of Missouri.
All right.
If you have Fire Stick, Roku TV, Apple TV, or the SVP TV network app, you can call in and ask questions. I mean, and we'll answer those questions regardless of what we're talking about. We'll answer those questions.
Man, you can't beat that.
Man, free legal advice.
Absolutely, man.
All this experience on the stage.
Yes.
Man, that's a lot of, man.
Yes.
For free?
Yes.
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
and we're excited to do it.
Love it.
That's the thing.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So, Jerome, last week we talked about, the Shelby County Commission, the Memphis Area Legal, and the Shelby County court system have unified together to bring a program.
And Memphis Housing Resource Center.
And Memphis Housing Resource Center.
as well.
It's part of MAS.
It's a part of MAS. Yeah.
And
But housing is all they do, this
Yeah.
particular part. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we had Judge Henderson, who is, in my eyes, an innovator and someone that always consistently tries to bring in programs that help the citizens.
Without a question, Daryl.
And then secondly, we had Cedric Harris.
Yes.
Almost-
You want to marry them.
I almost married him again. We had Cedric Harris, who
That's right.
has worked for Memphis Area Legal for a long time in the housing department.
That's right.
And has provided a lot of legal services for housing victims and housing people that need help.
That's right.
This program that they have, Jerome, it's a pretty good program.
Without a doubt, Daryl, it's innovative. It's much needed, particularly when we talk about the number of FEDs, which is federal
Forcible.
It's right.
Forcible
Forcible entry and detainer warrants,
Right.
which really means evictions.
Eviction.
They are so high in our area until this innovative judge decided that there has to be more that we can do.
We need to do more.
Yeah, we could do more.
Yeah, we could do more.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, and so the way that the program works, so we didn't really get too much into the legal aspect.
That's right.
When we were talking
That's
about
right.
it. And, I didn't really want to upstage or I needed the audiences to get that information from them.
I think that's right, Daryl.
Because it's a program, before you go down a bad rabbit hole, reach out to these agencies and get help.
I think that's right.
And in fact, one of the problems that I was concerned, and I said this to the judge and I said this to Cedric, is once the eviction process starts, it could put the person in a bad process.
Well, and Cedric said it too. Cedric said that it's going to be, more than like it's going to be a bad outcome for the renter.
If it's in motion.
Once it's filed,
Right.
it's pretty much a death knell
Right.
for the renter,
Right.
because the landlord has most of the power. The one with the most power is the one who it usually files, so they're going to be the plaintiff. So the plaintiff takes the lead. The plaintiff lays out their case, and there's not many defenses that a defendant can come up with, other than I made all my payments and here's my receipts.
Right.
What do you think about that, Darryl?
That's the one. And one of the things that Judge Henderson said, and because I've always said that, and she brought me back to reality when she said this. I've always said, because in order to get out of under the Uniform Residential Landlord Tenant Act, RLTA, to get out of a lease, one of the things that the tenant has to be able to allege is that it's uninhabitable.
That's right.
And in my mind, uninhabitable means it's so bad you can't stay there.
That's right.
But what Judge said to me, there are scenarios when you have no other choice but to stay there.
And Darren, I've tried to say that to you a couple of times.
You have said that to me.
But you never heard me.
You know what? I don't think I've ever heard you when you said it.
Right.
And again, and maybe that's because 99% of the time the court doesn't hear that either. So that's not an argument I want to take for my clients and perpetuate.
Gotcha.
Because I don't think the court hears that argument.
Gotcha.
Because what the court hears, uninhabitable means what it means. You can't inhabit it. And if you're inhabiting it, it's not uninhabitable.
Right.
So I mean, that's what it means. It's so bad you can't live here.
Like an oxymoron.
Yeah, and so that's why I never heard it, because that's what it says.
Yeah.
It's so bad
Right.
that you can't inhabit
Right.
the scenario.
Right.
But if your life is so bad, and this is better than the street,
Wow. You said something then.
then that's
You said something then. It's funny you said that, because we were trying to help. And there, I say this all the time there too. I'm a bankruptcy lawyer.
Right.
That's my bread and butter.
Right.
But I don't necessarily want to file a bankruptcy in every case.
Right.
I want to see what I can do to avoid it.
Right.
And so we tried to help somebody recently to find an alternate place to live. And her complaint was the window was broken. And so I said to her, to my staff is, when you're homeless, I don't think they're in the windows at all. I'm just trying to see.
homeless. Hey, another one of those homeless and windows don't go together.
Don't go together. But my guy said, I am going to repair the window. But can you imagine that? You're homeless, someone's trying to help you to get into a place, and all you can see is a broken window. But that's the mindset of people there who are in those situations. And I tried to say that to you too as well.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and that's one of the things that that I learned last show.
That's good. That's good.
And what I mean by that is that sometimes people will engage in a deal for living experience, living arrangements that is so bad, it's nonsensical.
That's right.
And so I say I'm gonna rent this 2,000 square foot place or 1,500 square foot place for $500 a month, and it's in bad shape, and you agree that you're gonna fix it and clean it up. So once I sign a contract to walk into that bad scenario, it was bad when I walked in. Now this is where that program comes in, because you're not even in a need for housing.
That's right.
But you in an area or something that the landlord is trying to do something for rent or make rent a better scenario.
And using the funds that you are paying in rent to improve the conditions of the place. So yeah.
And again, the thing had a three-pronged test to it. I mean, they had an inspector involved, and the inspector would come out and say, hey, these things don't meet this, they don't meet that.
That's right.
And because of that, you need to square that away.
And even went even further than that, said also the environmental judge also has chimed in that he also is willing to assist to try to make the place habitable.
Right.
So yeah, so so everybody is working. Man, I love that. All the pieces of the puzzle are trying to work together to improve the condition of the citizens of Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee.
Well, and so Miles has always provided legal services
True.
for people that have housing issues.
True.
But this program provides additional money
Even more so.
to hire people to do these things, to represent these people.
Yes.
It also provides money to hire the inspector, Mr. Tidwell, who's one of the guys that are doing this inspection for them, And when he does this inspection, he tells the court how much that property is worth.
That's right.
Renting wise, which I thought was a good thing.
I thought it was great.
But the other thing is, even if you end up in court, right? Which means that all those pre-things, you missed all those pre-things.
Right.
You end up in court. My understanding that old COVID money that they had to help pay landlords because you couldn't afford it is still out there.
You're absolutely right there. I've forgotten about that. Almost $10 million. I thought
I don't remember the number, but I remember it's a big number.
It's a substantial, and they want to spend down.
Spend
Otherwise, they got to turn it back over.
Well, I think now it's not even a turn back over. The money is just sitting there because that money's been available since 2020.
Since 2020.
Yeah,
Right.
and so I mean, it just didn't get used.
Right.
It didn't get all the way used, and so now there's an opportunity to use it. Look, this is a scenario where if you're struggling, and again, this can't be the program the way it's set up. It's not a program, and because I asked that question,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a program that that you just keep on coming and tapping.
That's right.
It's a program kind of like bankruptcy. You got in a bad scenario, right? And you need a fresh start or refresh, or you need some help.
I like that.
And that program gives you that fresh start, that help, or whatever it is, to put you in a position to allow you to survive until you make that next move.
And I also heard them say that you just have to suggest that you were impacted by COVID. You don't have to necessarily prove it, but the suggestion is that somehow or another your life was impacted by the pandemic, and these funds are available for your use.
And so she answered, because I mean, I said to the judge, there are 3 levels of problems here. Number one, how much of this is in the purview of the environmental court?
Right.
Number 2, at what point, instead of calling balls and strikes as a judiciary, you become an advocate?
What a pinch hitter.
You're a hitter. You know what I'm saying?
I heard you, yeah. I heard you say that.
Yeah. I mean, because, those are things that we always got to be careful of.
Right.
Because the reason why you have that black robe,
Right.
it's not because you're taking a side.
That's right.
I mean, because you put the black robe on, doesn't mean that you give up your right to be a citizen, to be a viable part of the community, to vote, to help people, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But when you're sitting on the bench, your job is called balls and strikes.
But it just came to me almost immediately when you said that even a black robe person can take judicial notice that this place is terrible. And that's what happened when the inspector comes in and shows the pictures to the court. Judicial notice said, this place is terrible. And then the judge said, what? How much would you pay to live in these conditions? That's how much it's worth.
Right.
So
that lessens.
So judicial notice, right?
Well, it's not judicial notice.
I'm calling judicial notice
because you've included other people in the middle. But what it does do, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
If you were going to get a judgment of, $10,000,
right,
but the property's only worth $200 a month,
right,
there's an argument that now you're only going to get $500.
That's exactly right.
Or $600 or $800.
Right.
And that's affordable.
That's right.
And we got somebody that's going to pay you that $800, for that tenant. Or what we'll do is you fix this rat trap. You let the tenant stay in there. We'll give the tenant to get this money, this COVID money, to pay your expenses.
That's right.
And together, we can bring this place up to a habitable scenario. But now the question becomes, if you bring it up, and that's the next one, if that person brings it up to whatever habitable level it is, why would they not change the number of the rent now?
Well, remember, Cedric said it best, that it may not be for this particular renter who will enjoy the fruits of the labor, but it's the secondary tenant who moves into a place that's absolutely gorgeous. Remember him saying that?
Say that?
A beautiful place.
Right.
And so the whole idea is that nobody should have to live in conditions that are, as your word there, uninhabitable.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's what this program is designed to do. And also there too, they said it several times too, that there is no income restrictions on it.
Now that
blew my mind there, didn't it?
Well, it was, and it's not the income restrictions for the tenant.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's the income restriction for the landlord.
Landlord, right.
Because if the landlord has a certain amount of assets, then why would he need this money?
True.
You know,
True.
But the reality of it is, you can't count nobody's money. You don't know what's going on with their money.
Right.
You know, so I mean, the reality of there may be 50 million things going on, and this is just not, top of my burner.
That's right.
You know, but I like, because again, I like what went on in that program. I love the program.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think, those flyers that they provided. Did you put them up at your church?
I took them to my office, and people coming in, and I'm passing.
Man, I could put them in a bigger form.
But
man.
you're right.
You take them ones to your church,
you're
man.
Right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
I mean,
in fact, the church should hold one of the seminars there.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll put on the agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to a couple of pastors I know to hold those seminars too.
That's great.
Because, again, it's something that you got to get out. I mean, everybody, and here's the thing. I commend Cedric and Judge Henderson. I commend them on it because whenever somebody needs a vote, they can find their way to a church. But when there's a program that needs to be put out to help people, nobody can find their way to a church.
That's right.
And the fact that her and Judge Henderson and Cedric are willing to make, and Mr. Tidwell are willing to make those trips to those churches to give them that information is worth its weight in gold.
And there you're absolutely right, because they came to the bankruptcy seminar. They've been going to churches back, and they're seeking more platforms in order to get the word out on it.
Yeah.
And so this is marvelous. Also, we can't take away anything either from the county commission.
No.
You know, people are always saying, what are they doing up there?
Right. Yeah,
This is what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that this was, not mistaken, Erica Sugarman was the one
That's right.
that spearheaded that program to get it started. Again, when you have organizations that are going to work in hand in hand to make sure that we get something beneficial for people, that's a good scenario.
Absolutely. And the Sugarmans have a long history of public service in this community, beginning with Russell. And then
well, you can't say judge now because we got his son's a judge too.
Daddy Sugarman.
Daddy Sugarman.
Then Tarek is the juvenile court judge.
And city court judge before that.
City court judge before that. Oh yeah. And then it's a long history of people who have been advocating for this kind of public service. And so it's coming to fruition now.
And this is probably discussed in the Sage Room, but unfortunately, poverty breeds crime. And if you can do something to decrease that poverty level, there's a question of you can decrease the crime level.
There, you have hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
And I said all the time, what is it about our children that they are now choosing crime over college? Why? We talked about it before too. College is free. I told you, you and I had this discussion before. Shelby State, Southwest Community College, the first 2 years of your college education are absolutely free.
You get an associate degree for free. Yeah. So you got 2 years of your prerequisites all done.
And then you got the scholarship fund that will help you go on to LeMoyne-Owen or to the University of Memphis or to any of these universities where you can be accepted, right? As long as you stay.
If you stay in the state of Tennessee and you have an ACT score of 20 or 21, if I'm not mistaken, or you have a GPA over 3.0, you can get the Hope Scholarship.
Oh my goodness, there. And the thing about it too is,
Used to be you had to have both of them. I'm glad they changed that.
Unfortunately, many of our kids come out of high school not prepared to move to the next level. We see it all the time. We, particularly, last year, maybe 2 years ago, when over 80% of the third graders, they were talking about retaining them because they were not reading at grade level. And so,
and let me just tell you, I don't know what the hell grade level is. Let me just be clear. I mean, it is undisputed that the average person in the United States reads on a 6th grade level.
oh my God, Daryl.
That's the average in the United States. And think about it, Jerome. The average books and things that they write are written on that level.
On that level.
So whether they're functioning at a 3rd grade level or they were functioning at a 1st grade level, it's not really relevant. Because all they got to do is get 3 more grades and they're functioning society level. Okay. I mean, there's this certain level of people obviously that read better than that and read at a higher level than that, or
some below, some below. Yeah, I got you.
But at the end of the day, you get the most gains at the youngest age.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because your mind is pliable,
right,
and it can just get you so much information. But when we go back to this thing, how does this help you legally, Jerome?
The program we're talking
about?
Well, for one thing, it will do, and the most important thing to do, it will stabilize families in a environment where they're not homeless. Okay. So and also it helps a community too, because it keeps these vacant buildings from accruing. Now that's a crime breeding spot too. Right. So if we can start cleaning up these areas where crime is being perpetuated, that helps the whole general public.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, one of the things that we're always talking about is when you have these people that are tenants that are struggling, right?
Right.
The question becomes, are they habitual bad actors, or this is a bad circumstance at this period of time?
And Derek, but I think too, there are some organizations too that attempt to these like first-time home buyers. There's a program that try to educate them about what it takes to keep your properties updated, how to keep the landscaping and all that kind of stuff in place too. And that's needed too as far as renters. If your place is a habitable place, it's going to give you the pride of coming in and out. So,
and look,
I think that helps a lot.
If you have a single family home, right, and you and I have had this conversation, you have a single family home, right, and you just happen to have one child, okay, you're making the average income in Shelby County. Let's just say hypothetically you're making $20 an hour.
Okay.
I think that's higher.
Well, that's real high.
Okay. But
that's greater than what minimum wage is, because it's still right $7.25.
$7.25. Yeah, they ain't
right. It has not moved.
But if that's the case, you make $800 a week, right? You make $3,200 a month. Am I right?
Right. That's right.
$3,200 a month, and you make right around $36,000 or $38,000 a year. $38,000 a year is what you make. So at $38,000 a year, or let's do this at $3,200 a month of rent, what can you get? So at $3,200 a month of rent, your taxes.
Wait a minute, $1,300 a month for rent.
No, I'm sorry, $3,200 a month of income.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That's not raw.
Right.
I mean, so that is raw.
That's right. But no taxes have been deducted. Anything.
So
right.
we take 1/3 out of that for taxes.
Okay.
Right. So so $3,200. We take 1/3 out of that. That's right around $1,100.
Okay.
So that's leaving you right at $2,100. Okay.
Right.
So you got $2,100 of disposable income. Okay. And so at $2,100 of disposable income, what kind of place can you get to live?
Well, your rent is probably around 900,
Okay. Let's just say your rent is 900.
and so that leaves you what?
That
It
so
leaves
that
you 1,200.
it leaves you $1,200.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leaves you $1,200.
It
Okay.
leaves you $1,200.
All right.
You got a car.
The car I know is what, 350?
It's called 350.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's make it easy.
Okay.
400.
400.
Right. And that so we were at 9.
Does.
12 rather.
Right.
And so now you take off 400. You got 800.
Yeah.
You got insurance.
Right.
150, 200.
$150, $200 a month.
Okay. So
That's $650.
you down to 650.
Okay.
Uh,
Food.
groceries. Yeah.
There you might be getting food stamps.
Nah, not at that number.
Not at 3,200.
Not at 30. Not at $38,000 a year. You're not getting it at that.
Okay.
Now you got. The,
Well, first of all, are we talking about just one person working in that house?
Yeah. That's it. That's what I'm saying. A single family home with one child.
But there could be a husband and a wife.
That's not what I said.
Oh, a single family.
Because that's our fabric normally is going to be.
You said single family home.
Yeah, single family home.
But that still could be a husband and a wife.
No, that's going to be a child and a
mother.
And a mother.
I got you. Okay.
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 Because if it's a cohesive family unit,
Right.
then you're going to have spouse, wife, and
And a child. Right.
Now you got instead of 32,000, you may have 60.
You might have 64.
Yeah. Now you can do all kinds of
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And and that's the point.
So you can make it then, huh?
Yeah, that's the point. Or if you got people in that two-family home, and they both making $10 an hour, they still just make it up to the 30.
That's true. That's true.
You know.
That's true.
So I mean, the point of that matter is, the incomes put people in a scenario where they are always right here at that power
Oh
level.
my goodness. And but we talk about it all the time too, there, that most people are just one paycheck away from disaster.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but and here's what ends up happening, and I don't want to say the landlords are preying on these people,
Right.
people's mistakes and their lack of livelihood.
Right.
Because they got to maintain their
For
resources and all
sure,
that stuff
for
too.
sure, for
But at
sure.
the end of the day, this lack of income creates that judicial or that litigation circle
For sure.
for landlord tenant.
For sure.
Well, we'll play some more with
And
this.
you know, I'm glad you said it, because $59,000 is the minimum income for a person to be able to do a Chapter 7 bankruptcy case. If you make more than $59,000, you're probably going to be forced into
Look at
Chapter
that.
13.
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching the show. We'll see you back next week.
Can you actually imagine hosting your next event at the all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center? Yes, spacious, beautiful.